But when I would see her when times were rough, she would say, "Are you going to go get a job?" Because logically, that would be the thing to do, 100%. So I completely understand. Some people are going to give you advice based on their fears, not based on your aspirations. And I don't know if that's ever going to change, unfortunately.
And by the way, I'm the one who did what it took to get here. I know what it took. I know what I'm giving up. You're looking from the outside, presupposing that this is what I want. And truth be told, you're also doing it predicated on the belief that I'm not going to surpass this. I said, I'm going to surpass this.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1657. Sometimes you need to cross the line to find it. Today, for episode number 1658, going backwards might be going forward. I had somebody I care about deeply, someone who I've been talking to for a minute now, reach out to me, and they expressed how they were going through a challenging situation in their relationship that might end up leading to them not being with their partner anymore. Breakup/divorce. And I said, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do to support? And we had a really good conversation based on that. And I had this moment, Alan, where I was thinking of, from the outside looking in, anybody who knows that person personally, or anybody who is social media friends with that person, Facebook friends with that person, when they potentially see the relationship status, go from in a relationship or married to single, a lot of people would look at that and say that is a giant loss. This person's going backwards, right? Maybe this person's 30 years old and they're getting a divorce at 30, or they're breaking up with their partner at 30, or they're going to have to move into a new place at 30. They're going to have to find a new spot at 30. But what you do with that dictates more about the direction than anything. It might look like a loss, but if that relationship wasn't serving that person, it's not a loss.
Big W.
It's a huge W. It just seems like a loss in the moment because it's the opposite of what everybody else is doing. A lot of other people are getting married, and if you're getting divorced, you're in a different bucket that seems like you're in a bucket by yourself. Same thing with a job. You and I left jobs at 26. When did you leave yours? 26? 27?
Mm-hmm. 26.
I left mine, I think, at 28. And it looks like a huge loss. You're 28. You're starting a new thing. You're starting a new career.
Yeah. Social status-wise,
yeah,
it definitely was. I had one person just go briefly about this say, "Oh, what? Alan's such an idiot."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who's laughing now? No.
Nobody is laughing.
I was.
But it's. I understand. I understand why it looks that way.
Everybody think, though, listeners, I'm treating this like a live event now. Everyone who
raise
here
your
has
hand.
ever... Raise your hand if... Yeah. And if you're driving, don't raise your hand. But who here can think back to a relationship where it ended and you knew that when it ended, your social circles would see that as an L, and in hindsight, that was a big W.
Yeah.
I can think of a relationship where, thank goodness,
Same.
I had the courage to break up, right? So sometimes the seemingly biggest L's are actually the biggest W's. Long term.
You're breaking the line that you're drawing to something that you don't want to get to. It seems like a loss because it's a break in the line. It stops. There's no more momentum there. There's no more pictures of a relationship, whatever it is, when in reality, that's you being smart enough to know that's not the result that you ultimately wanted.
I remember back when I was working in corporate America, I had a moment post-car accident where I had this honest conversation with myself of, I don't really want to be my boss. I don't want to be my boss's boss. And I don't even want to be the CEO of this company. What am I doing here? Mm. And again, I think that might be relatable, maybe not. But for me, I was always trying to climb the corporate ladder. When I was young, I wanted to be a Fortune 50 CEO of a tech company, like my hero, Steve Jobs. Hero at the time. I don't know if I'd call him a hero anymore. In some ways, I would. I always say this. He's a warning and an example. He's an example when it comes to what can be accomplished in this life. He's a warning when it comes to being a dick.
That's fair.
But I'm trying to keep the being a dick part at bay and still accomplishing the vision. But my point of that whole thing is, to your point of cutting off the line of where you're headed, if you're headed somewhere and you don't want to go there anymore, you're going to have to make a change. And that change in direction is inevitably going to be met with some social judgment. Divorce is always going to be judged.
Yeah.
Because when you say I do and you marry someone, at that time you thought that was forever. And people make mistakes. And for some reason, we are so afraid to make mistakes. We're so scared to have made a mistake. Every relationship prior to Emilia, I thought was going to be potentially long-term. I never did the short-term thing. And if I did, it was for a very short time. But I had 3 long-term relationships. One was 4.5 years, one was 5 years, and one was 2.5 years. And every single one of those had that, I thought they were so good together. And honestly, in some cases we were actually great together. I just wanted, I wanted more, different. I knew it wasn't it for me. No. You've been there too. So how do you overcome that? I think that's the thing I want to talk about.
And sometimes, to your point, it's not because it was bad, it's because it wasn't right. There's a difference between something being bad and something not being right. My job was not bad. It just wasn't right. When I was younger, I loved that job because of the opportunities it provided, but it just wasn't right for me as I got older. It just wasn't right.
You outgrew it.
I suppose. I think a lot of things changed in my life. A lot of what I wanted out of life changed. And I made a lot of sacrifices in the beginning because I just cared about the money and I didn't really care about much else. But a lot of that was short-sighted. I've said this on the podcast before, but I tried to take a $50,000 a year pay cut, and I didn't end up getting the job. But unfortunately, I drove all the way to the office.
I tried to get a job for half the money, and I still didn't get it.
That's how stuck I felt. That's how badly I wanted to cut that line. I wanted to stop that line.
How dare they? Now you're Spreadsheet Jeff.
Now I would be a really good project manager now. But again, whatever, it is what it is. I'd be miserable probably too. Or I would just not know what the other side offers, and I would be ignorant to all that I've learned thus far in this journey. But I can imagine, I didn't have a lot of close friends at the time, but imagine anybody who knew me, who knew what I was doing, who saw me take what looks like a step back. Mm-hmm. When in reality, for my mental health and for knowing where I was going to be working and driving to an office and not having to drive up and down the East Coast every week, that would have been a huge W for me. Only you get to determine what are your W's. And when I say W, I just mean win. Everybody else from the outside in is going to look, and based on what they think, they're going to throw labels at it, but it doesn't mean you didn't make the right decision. And that's really what I want this episode to be about, because what I said to this person, I said, number 1, I'm so sorry. I can only imagine what that's like. And I said, number 2, I'm super excited to see the opportunities it brings. The opportunities for you to flourish, the opportunities for you to lean into who you are, the opportunities for you to find someone that is more aligned, whatever the opportunities are, that's what I'm excited about for you. And maybe that's not what other people will see, and maybe that's not what you see right now either. But
what was the quote you posted?
I posted a quote that said, we don't want to have to choose between being ourselves and being loved. And I think that is super accurate. I think that's one of the most accurate things ever.
If you're fearful of being, that's the truth of it too. When you're on a podcast interview, you can always tell when the other person's insecure. And I got insecure on a podcast interview earlier today, and she could tell. I forget what part. Oh, she said, "Hey, rapid fire round." And I was like, "Listen, Terry, I don't know if you've noticed. I'm a little long-winded.
I love rapid fire rounds.
Rapid fire is hard for me." And I was like, I'm just a little insecure about. And she was like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I'm being playful. I'm not. Like, we're fine. You know what's so interesting? In that moment, I could tell no one ever tells her that they're insecure. So for her, she thinks like, whoa, you must be really insecure. No, I'm just the only one who says it. Which is a weird thing. And ironically, I'm actually not that insecure because I'm saying it, so that's that weird thing. Because if I was actually insecure, I'd be hiding it. It's like this weird
I
duality.
love rapid fire rounds, just FYI.
They're hard for me. I need to tell you the meaning why. She asked me, who do you want to get lunch with, alive or dead heroes?
Kevin Palmieri. And you've done it before, which is beautiful. I mean, you can do that any day of the week.
Yeah. Kevin,
That's
KP,
awesome for you.
Kevin Palmieri.
Yeah.
I said Leonardo da Vinci. But anyways, the point is, what was my point of that whole thing? Hold on.
Sorry, I jeffed you.
No, it's okay. I'll get it back. I got it back last time with the Phoenix, last episode. What were you talking about? Oh, the quote.
Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Be yourself or be loved, right?
Yeah.
You have to choose between being yourself or being loved.
We don't want to. We don't want to have to choose. Yeah.
If you feel like you have to choose between being yourself or being loved, that relationship sucks a little bit.
I would agree. It's not optimal.
It's not optimal. Nice.
It's not optimal. Now, but here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead. Get me fired up.
It's good. That's what we're supposed to do,
You got
man.
me fired up. You got me fired up.
Good.
Say it.
NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. Here's the thing.
Yeah, say
that everything that looks like an L from the outside in, a lot of times is a W from the inside out. And a lot of the things that look like a W from the outside in are actually an L from the inside out.
I should have known that's where you were going. I should have known that's where you were going to go, son.
It looks like a W to get a brand new car,
Oh,
but
I knew
it's
that's
a
what you were
big
gonna say.
L when you have a $900 car payment.
It's fair.
And so I just think it's really important to understand that you can't let social circles dictate your decision-making paradigm.
I would say many of the things that looked like we were going backwards were actually giant steps forward. But when you pause it at that place, it's understandable why you'd think that.
Kev, I have a question.
Yeah, I have an answer. Maybe.
This is a semi-selfish question. I have no idea how much time we've gone past in this episode because we're doing a new thing now where we're recording all of them simultaneously.
Yeah. It's been about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes into this episode, give or take.
Awesome. In the future, I think I'm going to reset my timer just so I know. But sorry to waste any of the listeners' time.
No. You're good. You're good. Yeah, I told Alan we're cramming in 3 episodes, and we're doing them back to back to back without turning the recording off, which is something we do when we're trying to save time. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, that's why he doesn't know the time. Anything else you want to add to this?
It takes a lot of courage to do things that appear like L's from the outside in. But if you really want to grow, you're going to have to. I want to tell this story because I think a lot of our listeners feel like they've had bullies judging them. There was someone in my life when I left corporate. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what would my life be like if I never left corporate?
The worst.
You wouldn't have met me.
Well, I knew you.
No, I meant listeners.
Oh,
the listeners probably wouldn't have
You're
met
looking
me.
at me. I thought you were talking to me, son.
I gotta look at you, man.
You
You're
know what
the
I
only
mean?
one I'm talking to. I'm talking to listeners through you.
I was going to say, you just said you're the only one, and you're not. I'm not the only one you're talking to. See
That's
how
fair.
it gets...
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, it gets confusing.
So listeners, you would never have met me. I would never have met Jerry Ann, Amy, Brandon, all the team, Laura, Christina. It's unbelievable. And I always hate when I do that because it's like, well, if I don't mention everyone, my bad. If you're listening, team, I love you all. I'm sorry if I didn't mention
That's
your name.
why I always say the team, because I know I will forget. My memory is not great. It is. I have a good memory, but I'm not good at listing things.
I try to mix it up. I try to say the people that I didn't say last time. So like Lizzie, what's happening? But anyways, and eventually the team will probably get a little too big to mention that. Yeah, now I feel like shout out to Ron, AA, everybody. Okay, anyways, the point that I'm making with that is we would never have met any of those people. Would I have met Emilia?
Probably not.
So here's what happened. I quit corporate, and I had someone very close to me in my life come to me and say, Alan, this is a huge mistake. And I had another person talking behind my back saying, Alan's such an idiot. I would never quit a job making that much money. And 2 stories, very briefly. First one is, I said to this person, because I learned that through the grapevine. They didn't say that to my face. How dare they? No. I said, that person will never make as much money as I did. Because I had to risk 65 to make 85. I had to risk 85 to make 105. I had to risk 105, that was a story, to make 125. And then I had to risk 125 to make nearly 180. You have to risk to go up. You have to go backwards, quote unquote, to go forward. And so that person isn't going to ever do it because they would never quit a job making 180. I understand, but I had to in order to get to where we are now, Kev. Kev.
I'm glad. I'm grateful. I'm grateful you did.
We would never be partners. How much would be different? It'd be wild. Wild to think about. So anyways, other piece of this, someone came to me behind the scenes and said, you're making a huge mistake. You have the American dream. You have what everyone else wants. Why would you give that up? I said, because it's not what I want. Not anymore. And by the way, I'm the one who did what it took to get here. I know what it took. I know what I'm giving up. You're looking from the outside, presupposing that this is what I want. And truth be told, you're also doing it predicated on the belief that I'm not going to surpass this. I said, I'm going to surpass this. You think I'm living the American dream now? I'm going to live the American dream at a 10 times greater rate later. I want to do something bigger and better than this. And maybe that's something that I'm called to that you're not. Maybe that's something I can see that you can't. Listeners, maybe there's something that you're connected to that other people aren't. The woman on the last show earlier today, she said, Alan, what's your biggest pet peeve? This was rapid fire round, and I gave her a 6-minute answer. But my answer was bullies. People who try to tell you what you can and can't do. I can't stand bullies. If you're for wonderful humans, you have to be against bullies. I'm sorry. It's facts. Don't let people bully you. Don't let people make fun of you. And if you're getting a divorce because it's what's best for you, good for you. Because that seemingly big L from the outside in based on other people's perception of a life they don't understand because they don't actually know you. And the people that are going to judge you the hardest are the people that actually don't know what you're going through. They're the most ignorant and the most opinionated. That those two tend to go hand in hand, ignorant and opinionated. They're the least humble. Just, you got to do what you got to do. And my very, 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 very last thing I'll say is, and I said this recently to someone who reached out about something very vulnerable, similar to what you said at top, Kev. I said, there's a part of you that you got to let it. One of my clients didn't get a job that he applied for. And he worked really hard for it, and he thought he was the right person. He didn't get it. He said, that one really hurt. He reached out saying that really hurt. I said, brother, there's 3 types of people. There's people who take the L and they let it be. Okay, nothing I can do about it. The person 2 takes the L, learns from it, finds a way to do better. Person 3 takes the L, feels the pain, and says, I'm setting a new standard, baby. I'm going to take that pain and I'm going to turn it into power, and I'm never, ever, ever. I'm going to make them regret not hiring me. And again, that last one's a little more hardcore, but I do think it's important. So if you're going to get hate, and you're going to get bullied, let it drive you. One day I'll thank my bullies.
I would say for most of us, we probably don't feel that. We probably just get judgment without knowing it. People, I don't know. For some reason, people like to bully you. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's the self-belief thing.
Yeah. Well, I think they think you can handle it no matter what. It's almost like you're a punching bag that it won't affect you. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. But like my Mima, when I left my job, every time I'd see her, she'd say like, you got a new job yet? And like when things were really rough.
She's still saying that?
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Nice.
But that's because she's seen so much growth. But when I would see her when times were rough, she would say, are you going to go get a job? Like, because logically, that would be the thing to do. 100%. So I completely,
statistically speaking,
I completely understand. Some people are going to give you advice based on their fears, not based on your aspirations. And I don't know if that's ever going to change, unfortunately.
I talked to Mima recently. She got the Facebook invite to Next Level Live, and she
Yeah.
personally reached out and said, "Hey, I'm so proud of you guys, but I can't make it."
That's memes.
Yeah,
I'm going to see
That's
Mum
fun.
and Memes. Well, if you're listening to this Sunday, I might be down there right now seeing Mum and Memes. All right, we gotta pop. If you have, what am I talking about here? Oh, we have another round of group coaching starting on the 9th, April 9th or April 4th?
April 9th.
April 9th. If you were in the conversation for the last group and you are not able to get in, that tends to be what happens. We wait to the last minute to try to do something, and then it fills up, and then we have to wait till the next one. So if you were in that camp and you wanted in on the last group and you couldn't get in, make sure you lock your spot now, because again, that's probably going to happen again. That's just the way it works. We will have the link in the show notes. With the promo code NLU listener, it takes 30% off, and it ends up being, I believe, $96.60 per month, and you're getting a lot for that money, I promise. Like Alan always says, worst case scenario, you don't find value, we are happy to give you your money back, but we do not expect that to be it. Link will be in the show notes. We'd love to have you.
Also, so if you're listening to this, it is March 31st, I believe. Q2, so January, February, March is Q1. Q2 is about to start. And not only do we have the Dreamliner, we mentioned it last time, 90 days, achieve your dreams in 90 days, group coaching, awesome. If you want Q2 to be the best quarter of your life, grab the Dreamliner, join group coaching. But also we have a blog on my LinkedIn account called Streamline Your Dreams. It helps you set goals that roll up to 2024, and they break it down into quarterly milestones and then little inch pebbles, so daily inch pebbles. So if you want to get back on track for Q2, check out that blog. The link will be in the show notes.
Tomorrow, for episode number 1659, we're going to talk about money. The 3 things to track to level up your money. We don't do things if they're super complicated. And if it's super complicated to figure out where all your money is going and all that happy jazz, we're probably not going to do it, because we tend to do what's simple. And if we can make a habit simple, then we're at a much higher likelihood to succeed. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. 3 things to track. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Don't listen to the bullies. Next Level Nation.